Like many areas of his administration, US President Donald Trump, with his back and forth on multiple issues, keeps people guessing on his contesting for a third term as president. In the latest, President Trump poured cold water on the idea, even floating the names of his Vice President J.D. Vance or Secretary of State Marco Rubio as possible successors. He called Vance a fantastic, brilliant guy and termed Rubio as great. Trump has often taken a swing at the third-term idea. In March this year, he said he was not joking about the possibility. He even said there were methods of circumventing the 22nd Amendment, which says no person may be elected president more than twice. Last month, Trump's business even began selling Trump 2028 merchandise, some with the phrase, "rewrite the rules." Talking about 2028, are there chances of Kamala Harris returning as a Democratic candidate? Harris made an appearance on the national stage last week in a San Francisco gala, calling Trump's 100 days in office, quote, the greatest man-made economic crisis in modern presidential history. Harris, who is 60, is weighing her future political options. One section of Democrats do see her as a possible contender to run for governor of California in 2026 or for president again in 2028. Harris lost all 7 battleground states in November last year, but there are Democratic lawmakers who don't want to slam the door shut on Harris running for the White House in 3 years, especially when they are not sure if a stronger candidate will emerge. So Donald Trump says that he has done enough in regards to the economy and he should have an interesting 4 years ahead. He also says that Americans will be grateful to him for being their great president over the 100 days that he's been in office. But he actually did say and backtrack on the idea of running for a third term as President of the United States because, as experts are saying, this is not constitutional at all for America. Let's talk about this. Christopher Hale is a political analyst. He has worked for Presidents Obama and Biden in the White House and on the campaign trail. Christopher, welcome to the show. After repeatedly floating the idea since returning to the White House, Donald Trump has now retracted and says he will be an 8-term president and not more. If he had pushed on with that idea, what effect would it have had on the country's constitution and values?
I think we haven't really had a situation since Franklin Delano Roosevelt about 100 years ago, who ran for more than 2 terms. I think there would have been an incredible pushback to it. The Constitution, as President Trump rightly communicated yesterday, doesn't really allow a possibility for a third term. There were workarounds that have been proposed by Andy Ogles, a congressman from my home state in Tennessee, but also there's been some strange constitutional theories about how this could work. But I think that he rightly sees that that there's no pathway forward to doing this. And also, too, Donald Trump's on top right now. He vindicated himself. He won. After losing the 2020 election, he was indicted. He was convicted of crimes in New York State. I don't think it helps his legacy at all to run for a third term. I think he should go out on top, and I think he also sees the political reality that there's no. The man's in his early 80s when he would be running for a third term. So I do not think it's in the cards for him. But I think there's a constitutional reality, but also too I think a political reality. I think he understands that he's on the top of the world right now, and might as well go out that way as well.
Christopher, very quickly, what do you make of his comment of he doesn't know whether he must uphold the Constitution?
On January 20th, 2017, and again on January 20th, 2025, he took an oath on the Bible to uphold, to protect, defend the Constitution of the United States. So That was very oath that he took. So it was upsetting comments. He has to uphold the Constitution. He doesn't need to be a lawyer to do that. He's a constitutional officer. He is the highest constitutional officer in this country, and so it's expected that he upholds the Constitution. That was really disturbing remarks, but quite frankly, not surprising.
Finally, Trump says he's responsible for only good parts of the economy. He even said it will be okay if the U.S. economy falls into recession. Very quickly, your reactions.
Once again, on January 20th, 2025, he comes to the U.S. Capitol and says, a golden age of America has arrived. And not nearly 3 months later, he says that it's time for costs to go up, spending to go down, and we're going to ration dolls here in the United States. So the American golden age is not being ushered in by Donald Trump. In fact, we're going through tremendous difficulties, the worst first 100 days that we've had for a president in over a century.
Christopher Hale, we'll have to leave it there. Thank you very much for making time for us and for talking to us today.
Thank you for having me.